Hey guys, I have just a quick video for you today. I'm going to show you the ORV trail tag plate that I made for my side-by-side. It could also be used for registration depending on which state you live in. I made it because I didn't really like the look of trail tags mounted on your plastics, and they kind of get stacked up and dirty looking. I thought this is kind of a cleaner design, so let's check it out. This is the ORV and ORV trail tag mount that I made for my side-by-side. This is just kind of a reference if you kind of are looking for something like this or want to make one yourself. Your application may be a little different. You may have a little bit bigger registration or ORV stickers, or you may need a different size mount or different type of mount depending on your mounting location. This is just a simple design that I threw together last year. It's worked out well for me. I've had some DNR check out my tags. No one's ever said anything about it. It is removable and it could be abused, and so you could switch this from one vehicle to another, but I recommend just paying for the ORVs for separate vehicles because it supports maintenance and grooming on our trails, so I like to do that. So yeah, it's just pretty simple. I'll show you kind of what it looks like, where I mounted it. All right, I'll show you how to make it now. When I came up with this mounting idea, it was supposed to be just temporary until I could come up with something a little more intricate. It's kind of sad that I came up with this because I'm actually an engineer with access to CNC machines and everything, but I just needed to get out on the trail, so I threw this together with what I had, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to share because pretty much anybody can make it with whatever tools you have. I mean, basic skills to make this, really. So all you're gonna need is some metal, or I mean, you could use plastic or plexiglass. I used 2 pieces of sheet steel because that's all I had laying around. I would recommend using just one longer piece if you need 2 tags, or just kind of make whatever's going to fit your application. I used some stainless steel, a button head, lock nut, or lock washer, and just a stainless steel nut as well. And then I got these mounts here. I got them cheap off Amazon. There was a kit of 4 of them. I actually really like these mounts. I used them to mount my fire extinguisher, which probably make a video about that because I ended up liking that too. You could use pretty much any sort of mount you have laying around. You could kind of adapt to whatever application. A mount like this is kind of cool because you can move it whichever direction this actually comes off. You can rotate it. It's pretty nice, but I like this mount the most because you can use it. It's got different thicknesses of inserts, so you can go on many different size bars. So I thought that was pretty neat. All right, I'm gonna lay out my screw holes now and then start drilling. Okay, I'm just finishing up marking my hole locations on these plates. My holes are off to one side because my plates are gonna overlap because I didn't have the material to make one solid plate. I recommend using one piece though, because on these, when I did it like this, I have to really tighten that button head cap screw that I used or put glue in between so they don't separate like that. So I recommend using just one piece. I didn't give the measurements because it really depends on your application, your plate sizes, what material you use. There's a lot of variables, so the whole locations really aren't that important. I just marked them out using a ruler, some calipers, and a pen. I didn't have die or a scribe or anything like that here. So now I'm just gonna use a center punch, put it right on the center of my holes. Okay, that just gives a little spot for the drill to fall into. I'm probably not going to use the center drill on this one because it's so thin, and that's a pretty good dimple already. So I'm going to move to the drill press now. You could use just a hand drill into a block like this, kind of hold it, but I have a drill press, so I'm going to use that. It's a little bit safer, so I'm going to do that now. Okay, I have the plate mounted on my drill press. I used a piece of 2x4 just to support it from underneath. My mounting jaw here has a hole underneath it. I didn't want it to dimple worse than it has to. I threw a clamp on here just to keep it secured. I don't want to hold it with my hands because it might spin. It's kind of sharp. It's a little crooked. It'll work. I did use a step drill just for convenience. I have drill bits, but this is nice. It's got all different size drill bits in one. I'm just going to keep going down and fitting it to the bolt that I have. All right, I'm going to drill it now. This drill is spinning really fast. I don't want to adjust my belt. If you're drilling a thicker piece of material, you may want to add just a little bit of oil with like an oil can or something. That looks about right. Oh yeah, that's good. A lot of clearance in case there was some mismatch in my very accurate measuring. All right, I got the other plate mounted up and centered. I'm gonna drill this one now. I'm gonna make sure I go to the same line on the step drill as I did in the previous one. There we go. Okay, I'm gonna clean the oil off from drilling. You can see the plate's still a little crusty. These are some leftover plates that I had. They were pre-cut to this size. If you're using new material, you're not gonna have to worry about this part, but I'm just gonna, it's got a little bit of a sharp edge here. I'm gonna use my chamfer tool. Just clean up the holes. Do that for both plates here. You don't have to use one of these. You could use a few different methods, but I just had it, so I used it. So now I gotta clean up the face. You could use sandpaper. That's gonna take quite a while. I actually have a die grinder, so I'm gonna clean these up real quick. Then we'll move on to prepping for paint. Now that it's all sanded down and smooth, I did leave a little bit of tooth on it so the paint has something to grab on. I didn't polish it all in. I'm gonna clean it with some alcohol since I did use oil on it. I don't want the paint to like bubble up in that area. I'm just using some isopropyl alcohol. Just throw it on there, clean it up. Okay, now I'm gonna set up for painting. I have my paint set up ready. I've actually already painted the back sides of these and let them dry. Now I'm just gonna paint the front sides here. I am using flat black this time. On the previous ones I made, I used gloss, and that kind of shows the imperfections. So. Alright, that's the first coat. I might do one or two more coats. I like to do it kind of thin, and I will get back to you when it dries, or Actually, I'm probably gonna, just for the example, just put together the previous ones I've made. The plates we just painted are over in the corner drying right now. As I said at the beginning of the video, I have been running this setup for about 1.5 years, so I did take apart my previous assembly just for this video's purposes. I just kind of was hoping to help somebody, or maybe give someone an idea in case they were looking for something like this. So I'm just gonna throw it back together. I'm just gotta put my button head through. I'm just gonna snug it up till I can turn it a little bit. I'm gonna mount it that way. Hopefully hold that position. A little crooked. Okay, that's it. That is the whole assembly, and I already have my inserts in. You may need to use some of these other thickness inserts if you get these same mounts here, but these are decent mounts. They have stainless steel bolts in them. These are from Amazon. They're made out of some Chinesium, so I wouldn't crank these suckers down too tight, just snug them up. Now I'll just mount it on my side-by-side where it was. All right, I'm gonna get it installed. There we go. That's all it takes. Alright, so I hope you guys like this video. Hope it helps someone out. Kind of dumb, but I thought maybe it'd give someone an idea. You could definitely do a better job. I thought it'd be nice to maybe use like a CNC'd plate. I kind of still like the mount. You can't machine anything cheaper than that. I'll put a link to these mounts that I used in case anyone's interested. Other than that, this is just some plate. But all right, thanks for watching.